Hello there! Today we are going to meet one of the greatest military commanders in world history. He might even be somewhat of an unsung hero, being overshadowed by the man he fought for. It's time to give the limelight to Subutai, Genghis Khan's most successful general. Subutai was most likely born close to the Unon River, within the borders of modern-day Mongolia. Mongol sources describe him as a member of the reindeer people, a culture similar but not directly related to the Mongols. However, there is also plenty of evidence in contemporary sources that describe him as a kinsman of Temujin, the man more commonly known by the title Genghis Khan. As such, Subutai would most likely have been Mongol himself. Nonetheless, the idea that Subutai was an outsider to Mongol society that climbed the ranks by sheer tactical skill and tenacity is still widely popular. Some depictions even claim he was too obese to ride a horse and would rather travel by reindeer-drawn wagon. Wait, is he Mongol Santa? No, he is not, of course. But what appears to be true is that Subutai rose the ranks of Genghis Khan's society not by his relation to the conqueror, but by his ability to command armies in battle. He became a follower of Temujin at 14 years of age, following the lead of his older brother Jalma. Both brothers proved to be excellent tacticians and quickly gained troops to be at their command. Within 10 years, both brothers had already fought and won several battles. Subutai was paired with the much older General Jebe, who became his mentor and friend. In fact, Subutai profited a lot from this partnership, as Jebe was a master strategist in his own right. Jebe, Jalme, Subutai, and a fourth man known as Kublai, not the famous Kublai Khan, were together known as the Four Dogs of Temujin. Like attack dogs, they were set upon Genghis Khan's enemies, and they were sure to tear apart anyone who would get into their master's way. So what made Subutai so brilliant? It was his style of attacking. Like few others in world history, Subutai was a master of feint attacks. He used mobile forces of light cavalry to harass enemies with probing attacks or mislead them to chase a token force while his main force moved into flanking positions. Subutai was able to test his mettle as a commander early, as he was tasked by Temujin to destroy the Merkits, a confederation of tribes that were unwilling to submit to the new Khan. Like his own troops, the Merkits would fight with hit-and-run tactics, so Subutai needed to find a way to force them into battle. To do so, he had his men collect children's toys and then drop them in the landscape. The Merkit scouts stumbled upon them and were convinced they were following a group of helpless refugees, so they suggested to their commander to attack. And thus the trap was sprung. The Merkit expected easy prey, yet found themselves on the receiving end of a whooping. After uniting the Mongol tribes, Temujin's first real test was the Jin Kingdom, a wealthy realm in today's northern China. Subutai proved himself invaluable for this conquest, as his forces managed to bypass the formidable defensive fortifications of the Jin and started raiding their farmland. The impressive Jin forces were left with no enemy to fight, at least none that they could catch, while slowly starving, securing Subutai victories with little casualties on his side. The young general was also among the first in the Mongol army to adopt Chinese siege weapons, which would become a linchpin of the Mongol success. Despite this, the Jin Kingdom would halt all attempts by the Mongols to conquer them completely for many more years. This mattered little, as the priority of the Mongols was for now to secure trade on the Silk Road. For this, they needed to expand westwards. Of course, Subutai was one of the chosen generals for this conquest. The mighty fortresses of Persia were cracked like eggshells by the unstoppable Mongol armies, and soon Jebe and Subutai directed their gaze to the northeast, to the rich lands of the Rus. The Rus were a collection of kingdoms, duchies, and city-states created by the coalescence of Norse and Slavic cultures. In the now famous Battle of the Kalka River, the two generals provoked a presumably much larger force into chasing them for days, before they suddenly turned around and destroyed their pursuers in a devastating attack as they attempted to cross the Kalka River. This would, however, also mark the beginning of the end of the partnership between the two generals, as Jebe would die on a return trip from an incursion into Georgia. The exact circumstances of his death are unknown. All we know for certain is that he never returned. Subutai was now on his own, but he had already shown time and time again that he was an equal to his mentor. When Batu Khan, one of Temujin's grandsons, was given the task to make the Rus states into tributaries of the Mongol Empire, he didn't think twice to hire Subutai as his top general. This newly formed Golden Horde, as it would soon be called, would spread terror not just in the lands of the Rus, but would invade deep into the heart of Europe, raiding Poland and Hungary. Especially the latter showed once again why Batu Khan picked the right man for the right job. At the Battle of Mui, the Mongols completely obliterated the Hungarian army, albeit sustaining more casualties themselves than they usually suffered. They did so by Subutai cleverly crossing the Shojo River and encircling the Hungarians. The defenders retreated to a makeshift fort, a proven tactic against steppe warriors. However, Subutai was not your average nomad commander. Instead of pursuing, he ordered his Chinese siege engines to bombard the camp, destroying the fortifications utterly. To make sure none remained to resist the Mongols, the general had the fleeing Hungarians run down by his cavalry. After subjugating Hungary and any would-be rebels in Eastern Europe, Subutai was recalled to China to act as an advisor in the ongoing war against the tenacious Song dynasty. By the ripe age of 71 he retired to the then capital of the Mongols, Karakorum, where he was treated with utmost reverence. A year later, the veteran warrior decided that the busy city was too much for him, and he retreated to a more rural area near the Tur'el River. His retirement wouldn't last, as he died not long after, at the respectable age of 72. The remains of his legacy are 65 won-pitched battles, over 20 successful military campaigns, and 32 conquered nations. These metrics alone give him a credible pitch as the world's greatest military commander. Yet aside from these hard numbers, Subutai was a man ahead of his time. His ability to coordinate different armies in vast campaigns is something that was long only thought possible with the advantages of modern technology. Yet Subutai did it with only messengers, great planning, and most importantly, thinking outside the box. This concludes today's story. I would love to return to the Mongols in a future episode as I find them endlessly fascinating. Once again, thank you to my wonderful artist and to you viewers. Please consider liking, subscribing and commenting. Until next time, bye!